Okay, so supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degrees. Oftentimes you'll see those as a linear pair, which is in a straight line that's been split, so you have two angles that together make a straight line. Those will always add up to 180. If you had to write an equation where you had an expression for each piece, it would be one expression plus the other expression equals 180. Sometimes you'll see a 90-degree angle, a right angle, that's been split into two pieces. The two pieces could be called complementary angles, and any two angles that add up to 90 degrees could be called complementary angles. If you had to write an expression for that, it would be an equation for that, it would be one expression plus the other expression equals 90, and then solve. If you have two straight lines crossing each other, it creates pairs of angles that match on opposite sides. These are called vertical angles because the angles are meeting together at their vertex. The expression would be one equals the other one on opposite sides. Although together, if you're looking at ones over here like this in this kind of situation, that's actually a linear pair that adds up to 180. If you have two parallel lines cut by another line called a transversal line, you get a whole bunch of angles that are either congruent, meaning they're the same size, or supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. I've color-coded this so all the equal ones, same size ones, are the same color. And because you get linear pairs from the different colors, those ones will always be supplementary, add up to 180. So when you're writing equations for this situation, you'll either do one equals the other, depending on if they're colored equally, or you would do one plus the other equals 180 if they're colored differently in this diagram. Now, let's talk about the vocabulary here. So because this is basically our vertical angle situation, but then by adding in an additional line that's parallel to that one, parallel lines travel at the same angle. So if you take this one and traced it on tracing paper and slid it down by doing a translation, this would then match up perfectly on top of this. So A would be on top of E, those would be called corresponding angles and they'd be equal. C would be on top of G, B would be on top of F, and D would be on top of H, and those are all the pairs of corresponding angles, and the equations there would always be that they are equal. One expression equals the other. Okay, now let's talk about the rest of the vocab. It's all going to be based on alternate or same side, interior or exterior. This looks complicated. Let's break it down so it's simple. Okay, there's two parallel lines. Your angles are either in between them or not. If they're in between them, we call them interior. That would be like C, D, E, and F. If they're outside the two parallel lines, we call them exterior. That's like A, B, G, and H. Now, there's also this transversal line, the line cutting across the two parallel lines. If you talk about any two angles, they're either on the same side of it or they aren't. If they're on the same side, we call them same side angles. If they are on opposite sides of the line or different sides of the line, we usually use the word alternate. So they're on alternate sides of the line. Let's put this all together and start naming some angles here. Angle A and angle G are exterior angles that are on the same side of the transversal. So that would be a pair of same side exterior angles, and they're colored differently so that the expression would be put a plus between them equals 180. C and E would be same side interior, and again, they would add up to 180. C and F would be alternate interior because they're inside the parallel lines, alternate sides of the transversal, and the expression would be that they are equal. Notice they are colored the same here. D and E would be another pair of alternate interior. B and G would be an example of alternate exterior, alternate sides of the transversal line outside the two parallel lines. H and A would be another pair of alternate exterior. Notice that they are the same color. A and H would match, B and G would match, so the expression would be that they are equal. And that's pretty much it right here. And you can always pause the video to look at this. I have it grouped by which ones would be always equal. So you could put an equal between them if you're doing an equation thing, or whether they would add up to 180. You might also run into triangles, and we've used this stuff to prove that the three angles in a triangle always add up to 180 as well. There's my help on angle stuff in 5 minutes or less.